Well, a family in the Eastern Cape is burying relatives who died from COVID-19. Noma Nkosazana Wipi passed away on Friday, and her daughter-in-law, Lungiswa Zoyowa Wipi, died a few days later. It's suspected Lungiswa got infected while taking care of the late Noma Nkosazana. Yinsiya Zaviwe Matile is following that story for us. Tell us what's happening today. I should imagine great sadness.
Certainly a sad time, Jane, for the Soizwapi family in Bazia, which is 14 kilometers away from Mthatha in the OR Tambo district in the Eastern Cape. It is a funeral of two of the family members who passed away of COVID-19. 70-year-old Noma Nkosazana Soyazwapi, who initially went to St. Mary's Hospital on the 11th of May. Earlier on, she went in fact, to the hospital for diabetes and spent a week there and was later discharged on the 18th of May. She was being taken care of by her daughter-in-law, Lungiswa Soyizwapi. And then later on in the month, around the 24th, they both fell ill on the Sunday. And basically, Jane, the mother was basically taken to hospital again, and St. Mary's Hospital, back on the 25th of May, where it was confirmed later on in the week, on the 28th of May, that in fact she was COVID-19 positive. The virus eventually took her life on the following day, on the 29th, basically of May. Also on the other side, Lungiswa was also feeling ill. She went to a public hospital, we understand, on the Thursday, the 28th of May, where she later passed away on the Sunday, a couple of days later. You'd understand now that Lungiswa was taking care of the mother, which basically the family suspects that she may have contacted the virus from the mother. You'd understand the mother went in initially just for diabetes at St. Mary's Hospital, but came back and then later on went back to hospital where it was confirmed that she was COVID-19 positive. You'd see now the AVBOB is here, basically in full regalia, and the bodies, they're taking out the coffins now from the hearses. You'd see the hearses, they're taking precautionary measures. You can see the PPEs that the staff members are wearing here, strict measures, and you'd see that the car was disinfected, in fact, basically before they took out the bodies. What's surprising, the family was telling me earlier on, is an issue that they had with AVBOB. AVBOB only initially allocated two of their staff for each coffin, and they said that they'd bring PPEs for the family, but the family said that they couldn't take the coffins themselves, so they asked that the four people that you see there, which were allocated two for each coffin, they be the ones basically that do the duties, as you can see, and basically puts in the bodies. If I'll ask my colleague just to show you around, so just to show you around, how this funeral is happening. You see the family is basically scattered all around this gravesite here in Bazia. No one coming close, basically, to the actual gravesite or even assisting the AVBOB personnel. You understand, everyone is social distancing, keeping a distance. Jane, there are no prayers, there have been no formalities as funerals you'd know them, but basically we understand you understand they're just disinfecting the gravesite and they're gonna put in the bodies here. There are no prayers or any songs of that nature, the traditional funerals that we know. The startling thing about this is that the St. Mary's Hospital that the mother, Noma Nkosazana, was in, is that very St. Mary's Hospital that was on the spotlight on Monday. You'd remember that we had an exclusive with 4 nurses there that were basically detailing what was happening at St. Mary's Hospital. The family believes that Noma Nkosazana contracted COVID-19 from the hospital because they say that she initially went in just for diabetes, and then when upon coming back, that's when she fell ill. We remember that the nurses there that work there told us on Monday basically that there's a ward at St. Mary's Hospital that basically has COVID-19 cases, confirmed cases, as well as suspected COVID-19 cases. Also, there are people that go in for non-related illnesses and sicknesses, all in the same ward. Now, that raises a number of eyebrows because this family says that Noma Nkosazana contracted COVID-19 from the hospital. We did, in fact, get an opportunity to speak to the hospital via email just to get a right of reply. And, of course, they say that this is not true. They did say that the COVID-19 positive patients are in a separate ward, whereas those suspects are in isolation until they confirmed or basically confirmed if they have COVID or not. But seeing what's happening here, it really raises eyebrows and real concerns. Yeah, you'd see the personnel there, only AVBOB personnel close to the burial site, and basically just preparing to put in the two coffins there of a mother and a daughter-in-law that was nursing the mother during the time that she was ill. The two coffins that you see in the picture there of Noma Nkosazana Soizwapi and Lungiswa Soizapi, married into the family and was taking care of this mother. Really tragic time for the Soizwapi family here. They were also telling me, Jane, how basically they're having difficulty now around this stigma of having two confirmed COVID cases within the family. They were telling us how people are now treating them, how people are now not even going to where the family lives. In fact, one of the family members was telling me that they not even allowed to attend your birthday celebrations within the family. And you can see that there are some tears, a lady shedding tears there. Of course, a sad time, a difficult time to mourn COVID-19 death. You're mourning from afar now. And there are no speeches or any words or any formalities of that sort. We see the AVBOB team bringing out chairs as well. We're not sure if those chairs would be for any proceedings, but we were told that there wouldn't be even a pastor at this funeral. Certainly a new era of funerals.
Let me just jump in here. I'm watching with Polly and you know, all our viewers, and it really is a devastating picture of the reality that we live in now. You know, it raises so many of the issues that people are going through every single day. Some of the problems we're seeing in hospitals, the fact that many people have been able to get close to those loved ones that they want to see in their dying days, and the fact that funerals are limited to 50 people. Very few people can actually get there. But there's rather sort of ominous pictures of the men, the women covered in the PPE, laying out the framework to put the coffins in there.
Certainly a sad side, Jane, as it's uncharted territory, basically, even for the family. You can't even give that proper burial. You'll understand, even after this, the family was telling me that there aren't even scones because of these social distancing measures that have to be in place, basically. So it's quite a sad and difficult time, Jane, even for the family, standing back, not allowed to come close, not allowed to visit. In fact, even when they were still in hospital, they weren't allowed to visit their family members in hospital, but in fact they had to even call nurses just to get updates on how things are going for the family. And they only received the confirmation of the first death on Thursday. Of course, that is the 70-year-old Noma Nkosazana Soizwapi. They received that confirmation via a nurse. In fact, they heard, that she was COVID positive via a nurse on the 28th of May, later passing on the Friday, the 29th. A couple of days later, Jane, on the Sunday, Lungiswa, the daughter-in-law that was taking care of Noma Nkosazana, passing away tragically also on the Sunday, confirmed that she also contracted COVID-19. 2 COVID-19 deaths in the family. A tough time for the family, and around the stigma as well. They were telling me that even in going to places like your public spaces, your SARS, they are sent away to a separate section, not to interact with people at this time. In fact, just to and they are served with people coming with PPEs. They're saying that the stigma around COVID-19, we will be catching up with the family just to get more detail on the stigma around COVID-19 and how they're dealing with with this pandemic.
Aviwe, let me jump in here. Police speaking, and I hope you can hear me. You're touching on the issue of the stigma around COVID-19. It will be very interesting for you to tell us about whether or not the family, you have had contact with them, how has been the treatment of them by family, by rather the community around the village of Bazia, but also Aviwe, you mentioned the St. Mary's Hospital that these relatives, or one of these relatives, was admitted to. Is there any indication from the family that they might take further action or any action at all against that particular hospital?
So the family tells me, Kori, that they've really had a tough time and they really had too much to deal with during this time. But I want to actually catch up with one of the family members here just to get that detail, whether what's going forward, how they're doing, and how it's in fact impacting them. Mama, thank you for joining us at ENCA. I understand it is quite a difficult and tough time for the Soyizwapi family, and condolences to the family. But how are you doing? Just seeing this funeral and the way that it's happening now, not the traditional form of funeral. How's the family doing?
This is a very sad day for the Soyizwapi family. Really sad. Akuyontwana ukulahlekelwa ngabantu ababini bade babe ngomama loo nto ithetha ukuthi umzi yavalwa ibuhlungu kakhulu ayinyamizeleki ngaphezu koko konke we cannot give them a decent funeral so phezu kobuhlungu esinabo ke kokulahlekelwa it's just that asikwazi nokuthetha ngabo asikwazi nokuthini kobuhlungu kakhulu.
Mama, I just want to touch on the deaths and how they happened. We understand Mama Nomakosazana went to hospital for diabetes, came back, and then was later, of course, fell ill on the 24th on the Sunday. Only confirmed at St. Mary's that she's then COVID positive upon going the second time. What's your understanding of the situation and how she contracted COVID-19, Mama?
Ndingaqala ndikunike nje okokubana uNomakhosazana ungumuntu onjani. Ngumuntu ohleli ndawonye ongahambiyo because of age akakwazi uzenzela nto, so is only helped by umolokazana lo wakhe. There are 3 in that family. It's umama, umolokazana nomyeni kamolokazana. Now on the 25th, on the 11th, uya wagula wabheka esibhedlele because udiabetic kwayena, so ibihleli kakade engumuntu ohamba eSt. Mary's. Uphumile ke on the 18th on Monday engenanto. Ungumuntu ke othanda ukuzixela xa esibhedlele, uya WhatsApp uyathini, waphuma ke esitsho uba akananto on the 18th. Oko ke right until the Sunday of the 24th wagula kakhulu kwangoba kuthiwe ithe ifike ambulance wabesenikwe oxygen wabheka eSt. Mary's. Then ke sasas you are not allowed kokubana uyobona umuntu esibhedlela. Khange sikwazi kumbona, asifumane report because akakwazi ukuthetha ifoni. Ngelixesha agulayo ugula nomolokazana wakhe. The same day yena eSt. Mary's umolokazana ubheka kugqirha eNgcobo. Then ngoku aseSt. Mary's asikwazi ucontact but ndikhe ndazama ukumfonela onesi. Then ndaxelelwa ukuba ukwi-quarantine e-old ICU. Yangathi ke njengoba ekwi-quarantine e-old ICU it's because wonke umuntu ofika esibhedlele uqale kuqala a-quarantine. That was i-understanding enandini kwasesibhedlele. On a Thursday sifumene into yokokubana it's no longer iswekile, it's i-COVID-19. Then washiya on Friday. Ngelixesha yena aseSt. Mary's kunzima ngapha kumolokazana, akakwazi uhamba, akakwazi uthini until kufike lo mphanga wa Friday. Sithi xa simchekisha sifumana uba akasakwazi ukuphefumla, asiwe eNgcobo e-Olsens. Nalapho asikwazanga ukuthetha naye, asikwazi kumfumana, asikwazi uthini. nalapho through onesi sifumene into yokubana naye COVID-19.
Unfortunate 2 deaths of COVID-19. Mama Stella, how these deaths happen. I just want to touch, Mama, on the stigma around COVID-19. You mentioned some of it earlier on, but kunjani actually, how is the community treating you, or how are people treating the family now that there are these 2 COVID deaths in the family?
Msasazi apha kule area yethu iBhazi xa kukhona isingcwabo kuyagcwala, but njengoba ubona apha asikho ngaka, singabantu balapha endlini qha kuphela, abekho abantu belali, abekho, but kona basisupportile because bakwazile ukomba abafana. Kodwa ke normally ndingatsho ukuthi isingxobo sokuqala ke phofu esi ukwehla se-COVID-19 apha eBhaziya, ndinayo into ethi abantu banefiya, asiqhelanga ngabantu abangaka esingcwabeni, and nesingcwabo esenzeka ngeli xesha asiqhelekanga. Coming to the stigma ke esinaso phaya ekuhambeni, ngokokuba ke xa kuswelekiwe uyahamba kweminyango ngeminyango, uhambe ufuna ukwenza death certificate ontoni, kuyanzinyelwa because uphethe ezinto zaba bantu babini ziyatsho ukuba COVID-19. Baye bahambe ke bayotsho baqale bakubizele ecaleni batsho into yoba kuzawuba nzima ukukuseva, mhlawumbi bakukusevela ngaphandle, then kunzima nokuhambisa i-ID yalo mntu ngoba kaloku le ID abakwazi kuyithatha, so kwayona iyasanithayizwa, kunzima, akululanga msasazi. And nalapha efemelini ndithethe ngeyam ke ifemeli yasekhaya, bekukhona itheko ekhaya this Sunday. I couldn't go there because bayandoyika.
Then ibuhlungu mama le nto uyithethayo, kodwa siyazibona kwibhokisi ziyehla ngoku, the coffins are going down at this very moment, mama. Akho nomfundisi, there is no pastor just to send them, give them that proper farewell. How do you feel as a family watching these coffins go down?
Very sad. Kaloku aba bantu bobabini ngabantu abakholwa inkonzo bayithanda kakhulu, bobabini. Kubuhlungu. Andazi ukuba bona bebengaba bayabona bebengava njani. Kubuhlungu kakhulu. They are very prayerful. Umama uNcinci nolungiso abakwazanga ke ngokufumana.
And ask mama, just going forward, what's going to happen from home? What's going to happen when we move from this point? Is there anything that's going to happen at home, or is this the end of it?
That is the end of it, Msasas. Akho nto soyenza.
That is, of course, the family members at Soyizwapi family members basically saying that there's nothing else that will happen. This is the final farewell for Nomakosazana and Lungiswa Soyizwapi, a mother and daughter-in-law. There will be no prayer, no pastor, none whatsoever. And you just heard that, how they loved church, how they were praying people. The mother even questioning how they'd feel if they were to see their funeral at this moment, and how it's happening. We heard those stigma issues around there, Putoli, saying that she's had difficulty going to various places. What happens when there are deaths, you'd have to go to door, and the treatment that they receive there, and unable to pass through the IDs. But even from the family, you heard the family member telling us that this last Sunday there was some sort of celebration. I understand it was a birthday celebration. While the family gathered together for that, she wasn't invited because of the close relation to these two family members, Nomakosazana as well as Lungiswa Soyizwapi, passed away of COVID-19 deaths. There are a number of questions around this death. You'd understand that even nurses at St. Mary's that we had an exclusive interview of told us of shocking allegations that they made around the hospital, saying that there is a ward there that caters for COVID-19 positive people, suspected cases, as well as people that have non-COVID-19 related illnesses. The hospital, in speaking to the hospital via email, they did say that these allegations are unfounded, and in fact they have a separate ward for COVID-19 patients as well as suspected cases. But when you see matters of this nature, hearing that the mother went to hospital just for diabetes, came back later, then fell ill at home around the 24th, was admitted back at St. Mary's, family only finding out over a call to a nurse that she's been in quarantined at the hospital, really raises a number of eyebrows. But this, as you can see, will be the end of the funeral, and there will be no pastors, there will be no gatherings at home, none whatsoever. It's basically just putting in the coffins in the soil and just burying them in the brutalist nature, if I can put it that way. No funerals. People that loved church won't have that proper send-off. But
yeah, Avion Tila, thank you very much for